If you're looking for quality designs, look no further than Bradley Shaw Designs. Bradley Shaw Designs can design anything from wraps, banners, posters, promotional items, and more. Bradley Shaw Designs is the exclusive digital graphics partner of the Renegade Monster Truck Tour and Route 2 Motorsports. If you're looking for more information, please check out www.bradleyshawdesigns.com.
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
Cheech, what's going on? Hey, what's going on with my dude? What's going on? No. Welcome to Crush This Live, everybody. My name is Brad Shaw, also known as the Monster Truck Conductor. And with me, rocking out to probably Triple H's theme like he was earlier, Mr. Dan Cheech Agosh. Dan, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, well, we finally got this episode Baki rolling. We thought, a little delay here and there, and we do apologize. I got a little bit confused and stuff, so we tried a little bit of testing our program here with There Goes the Monster Truck, and so we got that ball rolling. But once again, thank you to High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, Back Channel Productions, 6B Apparel, Marty Garza's Monster Truck Technology book, JB Scale Graphics, which they just debuted the Wildfoot scheme for your RC truck. So if you want to go back and relive the 93 Penta Lima show or the 1993 Pontiac Invitational, which was Bigfoot, but still the Wildfoot scheme, go ahead and check it out. And also Bradley Shaw Designs for stuff that you want to be done half-assed. Go to Bradley Shaw. I'm just kidding. He does really good work.
Hey, before we get going, guys, a special guest wants to wish you something.
Have a damn good time.
That's supposed to be the end of the program, Brad.
Well, I'm still playing with it. Okay, we're trying. We have a soundboard thing, and we can also change our voices. So we're trying some new stuff, having some fun with the podcast. So
it's trouble. It's gonna cause trouble, and
well,
it's gonna cause Brad trouble.
But hey, listen.
The nightmare continues, kitty.
Once again, it's going to cause trouble, but it's all good. Brad's having fun. So he gets some more soundboards. We're just going to probably do some of the stuff. If you listen to like morning radio shows, they have their end call out. Well, Brad's going to try that. Or if he, enters a new episode, he'll have a voice change or something. But more in detail to come. But right now we're bringing our guest, right, Brad? And and also before we bring Brandon out, don't forget October 24th. Come see that guy, Lincoln Speedway. He's coming to America, and hopefully he brings a lot of doubles. If not, he's probably going back to Canada. So I'm
going to be at Lincoln Speedway there in Pennsylvania for the Renegade Monster Truck Tour. Leaving here at Canada October 20th. Be there October 24th. So if you want to meet me and come hang out, definitely come to the show, guys. I'm excited about this trip. It's my dream trip, and I'm excited. And thank you to Zane and the rest of the Renegade crew for bringing me out for that event. But Cheech, why don't you introduce our guest, man?
So we had him on before in our audio files. If you go iTunes and Spotify, you can go ahead and no, Tina, it's the person that created the pepperoni roll will be our guest today. Anyway, we had him on in one of our audio versions, like I said, on iTunes and Spotify. Go check that out on Chris's podcast. And had a pretty good talk with him. But we're going to catch up with the onion harvester himself, Mr. Brandon Budd. How's it going, Brandon?
What's going on, man?
Living the life, I guess. Living the life.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So, we last time we chatted, it was a few months ago, and wanted to catch up with you and during the pandemic and stuff like that. But I wanted to catch up on the last few races that you had with the old chassis, and when was the excitement boiling to have the new one completed?
Yeah, we the last little bit there we ran for the Garden Brothers, the circus, and the monster trucks with the Z Tour, and loved it. It was they got a lot of learning to do, but it's a pretty cool little deal they got going on, and tried to make an impression. And the more I tried, the worse that old chassis got. It just kept cracking and breaking. So the more I ran it, the more I was looking forward to my new one being done. That's for sure.
So how, from when you decided, okay, I'm building the new truck until it was finished, how long was that timeline from when you decided everything?
We decided, I guess, around January of last year that we were going to go ahead and get one. And I just continually started paying on it. And Eddie Machka treated me like gold. He is awesome to deal with, to work with. And we got it paid off and got some other stuff with it. Got some 4 links and shock mounts and seat mounts and 3 sets of body mounts, and we got all kinds of stuff with it. And he, no problem, got everything together. And I think the last show for the circus was the end of November, and we had exactly 30 days before our next show to tear the old truck apart and put the new one together. And it came together like butter.
So when you were getting the idea for the new truck, a lot of people were speculating you were keeping the Hummer body or maybe going with the old one. What convinced you to change it to the traditional pickup truck Chevy body?
I've always been a Chevy man, always liked it there with Hawkins. And I thought I could be able to see a little better. And it was just kind of, Eddie already had the mounts. We didn't have to do nothing special, and we were kind of in a rush, so we went with that. But don't count the Hummer out. It might be making a comeback here sooner than you think.
See, I personally love that Hummer because, I was around that truck when it was Western Renegade when Barry Parkin owned it. Got to work on that a little bit. What made you go with the Eddie Machka chassis? Because, there's a lot of other great chassis builders out there. You got the CRD, you got, I believe Paul Cohen's still doing chassis, even Corey Rummel,
Just name all of them, Brad.
Pablo.
Name all of them.
There's many of them. And I get parts from all of them. And I try not to pick and choose, but Eddie's kind of speak for themselves. They've been winning with Jamie Garner and crew and John Gordon, and Eddie's only 3 hours from me, so it's really close. And like I said, he's treated me like gold, and it just worked out. And I tell you what, I'm glad I went that route. That chassis is bad to the bone.
So we're going to talk about that because you had 30 days for your next show, and I think you worked the bugs out on it, and it seemed like from the start that truck just was, you get your typical mechanical breakage, but not like gremlins. And it seems like that truck's been working from the start hard for you. And you look like you pushed the truck to the limit, and the truck's taking it as it is. And it just seems like you're having fun driving that thing.
We the last couple of weeks we were at the circus, we stayed out on the road with the truck. So instead of just sitting around all week, I took that time to tear all my axles down, my rear ends down, check everything. So when we got home, I pretty much just unbolted the 4 links, undid the shocks, and rolled the rears out from underneath the truck. They'd already been gone through, got fresh seals, everything tightened up, everything's good to go. So when we got our new chassis in the shop, we just pretty much rolled him under it. And Eddie, I called Eddie. I probably rang his phone for 30 days every day, asking questions. What do I do about this? What do I do about that? And I'll tell you this: that man had an answer for everything. He's got mounts for everything. Everything went together perfect. I had no complaints. And like you said, it worked. We had to do a little fine tuning on the shocks. This truck is definitely a little bit heavier than the old Hummer, and with a longer wheelbase, I had to correct my driving style just a little bit, and it's working awesome. We've had a little bit of dumb luck, I guess, or not dumb luck, but bad luck to this year so far. We got broke out our first housing, I guess the second show with it, and this past weekend, our closest show to home, I broke 2 spindles, cut a tire, and my throttle linkage came undone on the last show. So just a lot of dumb luck or bad luck and little gremlins biting us in the butt. But as far as the truck goes, that thing works good, and if I can keep it running, the fans are definitely in for a show.
So, when you had the 30 days to, tear the old truck down, switch everything over to the new truck. Did you have any testing time at all, or did you kind of go right into the show, kind of guns a-blazing? Okay, we're just going to test it here.
I backed it out of the driveway, or backed it out of the shop and in the driveway. I threw the big tires on it. The wife, Samantha, she took a couple pictures. I backed up. I did one whole shot with it. I took the tires off, put it in the trailer, and we went to our first show.
And that was a Monster Destruction show, right? Or no, that was a Toughest Monster Truck show, right?
Nope. I went to a Monster X tour first down in hell, I can't remember where I went. Alabama, I think. Somewhere down there, down south, and went there and did awesome. It felt good. They didn't have nothing really big like at a Toughest tour. So when I went to the Toughest tour the next weekend, the first night, of course, you know me, I always go big first out for freestyle. Always hit the biggest thing first. If all 4 wheels are still on it, then I'm golden for the rest of the show, So we hit it, and the shocks were definitely a little soft. I bottomed out, and I could feel it. So Friday night, we went in, tightened all the shocks up a little bit, put some extra shims in there, checked everything, put it all back together. Went out Saturday night, and it landed like butter, but I ended up I broke a champagne, and it took the flange off the housing. So we had to put a new housing in it. Jerry Beck and crew, those guys are awesome. Dirt Crew Motorsports, they are awesome. I got no complaints. They helped me out, fixed everything up for me. We stayed an extra couple days, and then went from New Mexico to Louisiana, and the following weekend, and it's been awesome feeling ever since.
When you run with a tour like the Toughest tour, and you're saying, even if you're first in freestyle, you're gonna hit it hard because you have such a intense crew over there. Especially Jerry Beck. You're mentioning him. Him in freestyle, he just goes insane. He sends it to the moon. Talk about being on that tour. You're kind of one of the mainstays of that tour. With the old truck and the new truck. Talk about the camaraderie you guys have on that tour, because it's probably one of the biggest kind of arena tours besides Monster Jam in the first quarter of the year.
I'll tell you what, I like all promoters, but I can tell you this: I've been doing this 10 years, and I've been to a lot of different shows, and I think my 2 favorite promoters to work for, my 2 favorite promoters, period, that I think put on the best show closest to Monster Jam as far as show flow, safety, and just a challenging track for the fans and for the drivers. I like a challenging track. I don't like a van stack is just boring. I want something that's, hey, I might roll over. Let's see how we should hit this. I want something challenging. And I tell you what, Toughest Monster Truck Tour and Monster Truck Throwdown, that is the 2 toughest tours that you can run for. And I tell you what, we have a blast with all of them. We kind of got our own little clique. Everybody knows what to do. it's just awesome. All the tech guys, everybody. It's just one big happy family.
So since you mentioned about Throwdown, I want to know about the story about the onion harvester.
Yes,
How
I
did
want
that
to.
all get started, and how did that ball just start? That snowball just roll, and now it's like, people identify the onion harvest to buckshot.
Elliot Miller. I love Elliot. Elliot's good to my family. He's a fun guy to be around. He's a good friend, and he treats us like gold. And he we were just talking one day, and he said, "Well, how are you going to run?" I said, "Well, I'm just going to give her the onion." And ever since then, he said, "I think we're going to call you the onion harvester," and it just went from there. And now I guess it's kind of a thing. So now every time before I run, the crowd has to yell onion, and I guess get me pumped up so I can go.
That's
See,
cool.
I know you have, I believe it's the Wasted Nights identity, but you need an onion harvester truck. I feel like and that'd be just the greatest thing in the world.
I think next year for Throwdown, instead of the bullet holes on the side of the truck, I think we're going to do onions all over it.
And then you find fuel additives that have onion smelling to it, then everyone cries.
Yep, we're working on it.
They'd be the only truck to ever freestyle run with everyone's crying.
It's like, why is everybody crying? Is this freestyle that bad? No, it's the truck. It smells like onions.
Yeah. Good time.
Right
on. What you got, Brad?
I'm just saying, when you were mentioning Elliot, Elliot kind of gave me one of my first shots, and unfortunately the wall falling over incident was at one of his shows. But you're saying a lot of the crew, like the Throwdown crew, is some of the best people I've been around in the business myself. And talk about this past weekend. You were up in doing the Virginia Motorsports Park events, and Elliot actually got to debut his new truck, Sinistar, that weekend. He's been working on. Talk about kind of how the weekend went. You mentioned you broke quite a bit of stuff. Just talk about how the weekend went for you guys and how everything went.
It rained. It monsooned on, I guess, Friday. So we had a big mud show Friday night, and Elliot had his truck out. It was sitting there, and he said, "Well, that thing looks pretty." I said, "Yeah, it's a gorgeous truck." And he said, "Yeah, I think it's too pretty to run in the mud." I said, "You little shit." So needless to say, he didn't run Friday night. He didn't want to get the truck all muddy. We all ran. We did the best we could with what we had to work with. It was slop out there. I ended up cutting the tire early in my freestyle run, and everybody had a good run. I think Jay Gore won all 3 events, and just it was a muddy mess. So I think everybody stayed up till 1 or 2 in the morning, power washing trucks, getting ready for Saturday. Saturday came around, track dried up pretty good. Hell, I helped scrape it off there a little bit, and got the trucks ready. Everything went good. I broke a spindle in wheelies. So we went back. Jay Gore, John Gordon and crew, awesome. They gave me a spindle. I had a couple of Keith Berry spindles that didn't work with what I had. So Jay Gore hooked me up with an Overson. We threw a spindle on it, made it back for freestyle. Ended up breaking a spindle on the other side in freestyle a little early. So I got two new Overson spindles on the back, courtesy of John Gordon this weekend. Not the way I wanted to do it, but it's on. And then Elliot went to go out, and I think I ran out in front of his truck and pumped my arms up, got him pumped up, and he did awesome. He did good for the debut of the first truck. He had a little bit of problems here and there. He made it through it. They had a van stack out, and it was still kind of muddy where the van stack was. So he hit it the first time, and it just kind of shoved everything to the side. He went back around and clipped it and ended up rolling over. It was kind of like, brand new body, but at the same time, it's like I'm glad you got it over with because now you can actually, not be afraid to tear the truck up. But he got out, came over, and he said, "Onion, did you see the van stack?" I said, "Yeah, I see it." He said, "Don't hit it. It's pretty fucked up." I said, "No kidding." So we all kind of laughed about it. He didn't tear it up too bad, and he did good, and he said the shocks felt good. So I'm hoping. I don't know if he's going to get it out anymore this year, but hopefully next year I get to run with him a little more.
Now, one event that I think when I talked to you, was really excited to be at was the Bloomsburg 4-wheel drive Jamboree. Yeah, I know Friday it rained, but still, I mean, we did the freestyle, then you did the freestyle encore, kind of a freestyle only event, but still, the history of the Jamboree and the sights and sounds of it, brings out a lot of excitement for people that have been driving longer than 5 years or 10 years. So how was that experience like for you for the doing that? And I know you were supposed to go to Lima also, but that got canceled or postponed for next year, and hopefully we'll see you there next year. But how was the opportunity driving in the 4-wheel drive Jamborees?
It was awesome. I'd always heard stories how good the shows were and how cool it was to be around with, the people in the trucks and see different things. And we had a good time. I was kind of looking forward to the racing. I know they got racing in Indy. I was hoping they would get it in for Lima, but of course that canceled. But freestyle was fun. They had some good stuff out there. Little muddy, but we did what we could with it and put on a good show. And I had a lot of fun. Met some cool people. There's a lot of cool things there. A lot of people walking around that we talked to and met and sold some merch, and it was a good time. I definitely like being a part of it.
Now, I know that Bloomsburg infield is pretty huge, and some people, not get intimidated, but may get lost during the freestyle. But with the experience of what you have done with big areas like at Wildwood and other places like that, how was the freestyle track there? And it just seemed like also, once again, seems like all you guys were having fun just driving around that area.
Yeah, it was good. I don't mind a big place, I don't mind. In my mind, once you hit an obstacle, it's a race to your next obstacle so that the fans don't forget the first obstacle. So I try to have a whole lot of momentum in my runs or good momentum anyways. And it didn't really bother me about a big track. Gives you plenty of room to line up straight and hit everything. And they had some good stuff out there. We got some pretty big air, and I enjoyed it. I got no complaints.
Now, we're going to also go further before the COVID happened. Brad mentioned the Wasted Nights body from Monster Jam. You did a few events with them in the Arena Tour 5 group. You have driven in Monster Jam before. I was with you in Nashville when you were subbing in for one of the many drivers of the zombie truck for Tim Mente. And you held yourself pretty dang good at Nashville. Showed up and did your thing. But this time around, it's your own equipment, your own vehicle, everything's your own. And, there's not really an extreme difference between the Toughest Tour and Monster Jam. Just one's just has television, and the other one, is, on YouTube, popular on YouTube, but still popular both in general. So, the I guess the big difference is that pod. And what was your first site, or how you felt about attacking that center pod in those arenas?
The pod wasn't really bad. I didn't think it was. I figured it would have been a whole lot taller than what it was, and more intimidating. But it really wasn't that bad. The one thing that kind of excited me that I never hit before was the 8-pack. That was pretty cool. It was a good bounce or good kicker there. We had a lot of fun with it. I only ran, I guess, 4 shows with them, indoor shows. It was a good time. If I had to choose, I would definitely rather be in a stadium. We went to Nashville. I filled in for Mente, a good friend of mine, Tim, out of Maryland. Drove is actually Steven's older truck, and good thing I like about Tim is he never put me on a leash. It was kind of a, hey, go do your thing. So I went out there and did my thing. I didn't purposely go out there to destroy a truck, but I did what I could. I'd never driven it before. We went out and did practice on Friday night, and I made a good racing pass. They asked me if I wanted to do it again. I'm good. Of course, I ended up losing first round to Brian there with Hook, but we did pretty good in freestyle and two-wheel. I can't complain. The truck did awesome. Didn't break anything. Drove it in the trailer and had a lot of fun. I would definitely rather be in a stadium than I would indoors. So
a lot of people explain about when you're first doing a stadium event, you do feel the energy of the fans. I mean, don't get me wrong, the arenas do the same thing, but there's something different about a stadium monster truck show that, this place is supposed to be rocking 68,000 people in a football game. 47,000 of them are now in a monster truck show. And it must be the sensation, and you can hear those people probably yelling and screaming over the motor in those stadium shows.
It's an awesome feeling, and to hear everybody get pumped up, and you can actually hear the crowd over the motor for once, and it's pretty wild and amazing. I tell you what, the whole ride there, it was a 9-hour drive down there, and the wife asked me the entire time, "You nervous? You nervous?" Because it was televised, and I said, "No, I don't think I'll be nervous until I see the track. Once I see the track, then I'll tell you whether I'm gonna be nervous or not." And we got there, looked at the truck, got fitted in the seat, got belts adjusted, all that good stuff. And I looked over at Steven Thompson and I said, let's walk in there and look at the track. And I walked down there and it looked like a whole lot of fun, but compared to a Brian Manson track or a Elliott Miller track, I didn't think it was that challenging. I mean, everything's kind of laid over. And I kind of looked at Samantha and she said, "You nervous?" I'm like, I would be nervous if there was stuff out here for, jammers and stuff like that from the other shows that we do. But everything is laid back. It's just big air. I didn't mind it. I would do a stadium show in a heartbeat. I don't want to say they're easy, but they're a lot of fun, big air, and I don't know. I also like a Manson track and Elliott track where they got different obstacles where it's you're kind of you don't know what to hit or how to hit it or when to give it gas or when to give it brake it's kind of I got to the point I could tell you with the Hummer truck, the old chassis, if Manson put me out first and he had to step up with a jammer, I was going over backwards, guaranteed. If I was the first out, if somebody else hit it before me, then I could go out there and do my thing. But if I was first out, I was going over backwards.
Now, outside the freestyle in the stadium event, how was the racing portion? It just looks like the trucks were always fast. It just seemed like it was a lot of speed and a lot of momentum on those when you race in the stadium.
It was, and I like it. Mente's truck had a open in the front. It didn't have a locker, which I'm always used to a locker. I run a locker in my truck. And I swear if I had a locker, I probably could have pulled on Brian a little bit in the last corner. But it is what it is. It's a lot of fun. It's really fast. I would definitely like to see what the old onion harvester in there would do in a stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, buddy. And it'd be pretty cool to see that going on. And another thing is people may not know the Wasted Nights name of your truck was actually the pulling vehicle that you had previously, correct?
Yep. It was my granddad's tractor. Trey Myers, who actually I updated the paint job on it, and Trey's actually the guy that painted the tractor fenders, and he's the one that actually airbrushed and painted the Wasted Nights body. That's not a wrap. That is all airbrushed.
Wow. So so compared, Buckshot's wrapped, right?
Buckshot is wrapped.
Wasted Night's painted. So when you probably drove that truck, you were like, were you a little bit cautious because that truck that body looked nice.
Yes, I was a little cautious, and I made Samantha take a lot of pictures. So Trey said he wasn't going to paint it again, or paint another one. So we got a lot of pictures, try to get a wrap made for it. But there's a lot of detail in that thing that I don't think a wrap shop could do. Trey did an amazing job. He always does. And, I kind of gave him an idea on what to start with and what I wanted. And I kind of wanted it plain, just yellow with black stripes down it, like my granddad's old equipment and dump trucks and stuff. But Trey said, well, I can't just do that. I got to do something. I said, well, as long as you got 2 black stripes and some yellow, I'm good with it. Do your thing. And he kind of surprised me one day, and we went to Tim's to pick it up, and I looked at it, and I couldn't complain. It wasn't kind of what I wanted or what I was looking for, but it's so good you can't say anything.
See, I know that kind of thing myself, being a graphic designer. It's like, somebody's like, I just want this kind of plain, and in my head I'm just like, like it's got to have some pizzazz behind it. It's got to have something to it that kind of makes it pop compared to everybody else. Let's talk about the pulling stuff a little bit. I don't know if you guys talked about that. I had to quickly run to the washroom there. Let's talk about the pulling stuff. How long were you a puller for? I didn't know that until just probably about a few years ago. How long were you doing pulling for?
I pulled, I think my first year pulling, I was 16. Drove a 3-engine mod, and I pulled up till now. I didn't pull every year. It was kind of off and on thing when I had the money and had the time to do it. But I pulled until 2016. We decided I'd never run the points before, so we decided in 2016 we're going to run the points. I spent $40,000 that year, easy. Put new blowers, new mags, whole lot of stuff. Updated the motors. We went to a brush pool 2 weekends before our first points pool, and ended up breaking a crank and disintegrating a motor. So we broke down, came home. I ran the first 2 points hooks on 2 motors. Got the third one built, put it in, and we got 2 or 3 wins throughout the summer. A lot of top threes, a lot of seconds, and I think about 3 pools from the end of the season. I won in Easton Friday night. We went to La Plata Saturday, and I broke the last crank of my granddad's, which was built. It's a 1990 Crowler. Ended up breaking it in half and disintegrating another motor. So came home, and at that point I was winning points. So I came home, and I thought, and we had 2 weeks off before our next pool, and John had most of the stuff to build a new motor. So I broke down, and I yanked the third motor off, the last one, and was getting ready to take it to him. And Samantha come in, and we were kind of talking, and she went bundling around there in the back beside the refrigerator and found all my receipts for the year. So needless to say, the pool tractor had to go, or I had to find a new wife. So I was kind of joking with her, and I said, I got to do something because I can't sit still. I got to have something to do. I got to have something to keep me busy, or I'm gonna get myself in trouble. And she said, well, I think she was joking around. She said she was. And she said, well, why don't you go buy a damn monster truck? Mike Hawkins pays you pretty good to drive his. Why don't you go buy one? I just shrugged it off. I said, okay. I called a good friend of mine, somebody who'd been interested in it a long time. He came and picked up the chassis. I sold it. The next weekend, I went to Indianapolis. I picked up the orange chassis, the old one. And I came home, and I remember pulling in the driveway and her looking at me, and her jaw dropped. And I stopped and rolled down the window, and she says, what the hell is that? I said, you told me I could go buy a monster truck. And she shook her head and went inside, and I think she cried. But we've had enough. We've had a blast since. We've both come to enjoy this sport, and made another family on the road. So we love it. We definitely don't. We're not looking back.
Now let's talk about the difference. I mean, there's probably a lot of difference between pooling and monster trucking. It seems like it's one of those, especially in Illinois. It seems like if you're a farmer and you got the moolah, whoever has the most moolah basically tries to win it or shows off. Because I guess there's stories I heard that there's guys with 5 or 6, big motor tractors that don't even have to go to Paxton, Illinois to do a pool, but he knows that a guy 2 towns away from him that's a rival in the farm world is going to be there. He'll intentionally go there just to pool, just to beat him instead. And in monster trucks, it seems like we're a huge family. I know we race each other, but we could race each other at, like, just say Bloomsbury, Pennsylvania, but we're also having the 2 trucks parked next to each other, power washing at midnight. What is the extreme difference between the 2 sports?
Pulling, as far as rush goes, I got a more rush out of the pool tractor than I did the monster truck. I enjoyed it. There's no other feeling than having 6,000 horsepower in your hands. We had the motors on kill. It was a blast. The sport of it, you got your goods and your bads. Some people, you go around and they'd share information and they would help you. And Randy Davis, he used to have a tractor like me. He's about 4 hours south of me in Tappahannock. And he helped me. If it wasn't for him the last year, I wouldn't have been winning points when I quit. But he definitely was a big help to me. Other people would turn their nose up to you. It's kind of a sport thing. I don't know. It's got a different vibe to it. Monster trucks this weekend was a perfect example. If anybody saw Elliot's post, I broke 2 spindles. All the teams came over and asked if they could help. Everybody pitched in. Jay Gore, I went over and asked him if he had a spindle. He said, yep. I said, can I use it or have it or buy it off of you? He said, what are you asking me for? Here's where it is. Go get it. No questions asked. Nick went to go race. Corey and Toxic and Jay, Corey's dad, actually took the jump box over and jump started Nick to go out and beat Corey. It's a family. It's all about the fans. Once the helmets go on, the trucks are fired, and we're at the starting line, it's a different story. But until we get there, it's all about the fans, and we're one big happy family. Everybody shares information. Everybody helps out. It's just shares parts. There's nothing like it. That's why I said when we have another family out on the road other than our family back home.
So, if people haven't really watched pulling before, what goes into a run? Like from almost kind of like from start to finish, like what's the procedures you have to go through, to do a run in a pulling truck?
Well, I came home after every run, and every 2 weekends I would change the oil. Now we're talking 12 quarts times 3. Change the spark plugs after every one. That's 8 plugs times 3. Adjust the valves in all 3 motors. The rear tires never stayed on the ground. They were always jacked up. You don't want them to sit and get flat spots on them. The one thing I do like about pulling was once you got there, you unloaded, you're pretty much ready to go. You fired it up. You warmed it up. You shut it down. You towed it to the starting line. You fired it up, you pulled, and once you're done, you pull it to the trailer, you winch it in the trailer, and you go home. There's no tiring down. There's no nothing. If something breaks, you fix it when you get home. You put it in the trailer, and you go home. But other than that, I mean, it's tire pressure. Tire pressure is a big thing. Weight is a big thing. You might move weight front to back. Other than that, I always have my engine builder, John Gulick. He's been so good to us. I wouldn't be anywhere where I am today without him. He builds one hell of a motor, one hell of a reliable motor, and he went to every pool. He pretty much did all the tuning on the motors, changed the pills and whatnot, and he was awesome, a big help. Other than that, that's all there is. Tire pressure and weight.
Now, talking about weight, now it sounds like to me it's a little bit of a math game with the weight situation because you don't want to put too much weight in the back because of traction, and it seems like it's a huge balance game. So when you get there, obviously, do they tell you ahead of time or during the series how much weight's going to be in the sled? And then how do you come up with the weight with the tractor with the type of dirt and how they prepare the track for you?
As far as the sled goes, I don't know. I could never tell you how much weight was in the sled. That wasn't something that nobody figured out. Nobody wanted to know. It was kind of it doesn't matter because of track conditions. The track conditions change. You go to a loose track, it's going to have less weight on it. If you go to a really tight track where you're getting a lot of traction, the sled needs more weight on it. So it changes. It's not like you go somewhere and the sled has the same amount every single time. There's also different ways. It's not just weight in the sled. The sled trips in different points. They have diggers that go on the ground at certain points. It's just a whole lot of stuff that can change on the sled. As far as weight, on a loose track, you want more weight in the back. Okay. Tight track, you want more weight up front because it's going to carry harder and it's going to hook harder. It also depends on the sled. A lot of sleds, you would start and it would feel like there's nothing behind you and you'd go. And about 250 foot, all of a sudden it feel like something just hit you in the ass. Like you're done. You're coming to a stop. And that's when the front end would just raise up real high. Then there's other sleds that's just heavy to pull from the get-go and they don't get no lighter. And those kinds of sleds, I like to load it in the back and just get as much traction I can and go. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of things that can change. My tractor loved the loose track rather than a tight track, just because I had the gearing closer for a loose track rather than a tight.
I got one more question here, Brad. Now, is that the reason why the first guy always gets another run? Do they still do that in pulling, where if the first guy goes out, he has an option to do another run?
Yes, so that's called the test puller. So if he pulls it out the gate and they reset the sled, he's got to come back anyways. Or if it's too tight and they want him to go further, either way, they can reset the sled. So he has to come back. And then he has the option of dropping or coming back himself. And if they reset the sled, the second puller now becomes a new test puller, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. And so then the other guy falls back in line and they just go from there. Okay, so the first guy is actually the test puller to see what's going on with the track so they can make adjustments to the sled. And then if it's just right, the guy could be like, I'll just stay put, right?
He can stay put, or he has three options. He can come back right away and pull again. He can come back and he can drop 6 spots and come back 6th, or he can drop and just come back last.
Have you ever had that? How do they pick? Do they random pick, or you have to, like in monster trucks when you're qualifying, you take your hand down the hat and they just randomly pick?
You draw numbers. You draw numbers.
Okay.
They got like a little wheel thing like bingo, and you draw numbers. Me, myself, I only like to run once. I hardly ever ran twice. I didn't like not looking at the motors and not pulling the filters and all that stuff before I ran again. Plus your clutches get hot. If I ran and everything felt good and the front end came up like I wanted it to, I left it alone.
So, if the first guy goes out, the test pillar goes out, and you guys are watching, seeing what the track is doing, are you guys allowed to go back and make quick adjustments to the weight or anything? Is that allowed in the pulling series?
So when you're coming in onto the track, you check your weight. Our class was 7,500 pounds. You got as close as you could to 7,500 pounds. Now, what you do with that weight is completely up to you as far as movable weight. So you can move the weight to the front, you can move the weight to the back, as long as you keep that same, and you can actually run less. You just can't run over 7,500 pounds. So if you want to take weight away, by all means, go for it. But you can't add weight. And if you want to move it, you can move it. You just can't add it. They also check hitch height. That's a big, big difference. I think ours was 20 inches, so our hitch had to be 20 inches. They pull them up on a concrete pad, and you do your hitch height. As far as tire pressure, you can drop tire pressure. It's kind of hard to add tire pressure because when you add tire pressure, your hitch height goes up. So you can take air pressure away. It's hard to put it back because then you got to pull back around and remeasure your hitch.
Now, just to let people not get confused, the tires in the back of Wasted Nights' pulling tractor is not the same size as a monster truck tire. So if someone gets confused, pretty close. But is it like 32-inch rims, I think? And it's like, what's the tire dimension on those?
30.5 by, oh man, it's been so long, I can't remember. But I can tell you, I think Greg Witchenbach used to run pulling tires on his truck.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You could be right. Yeah, but
or actually Kohler has too, I think.
Yeah. Same thing with Jay Snyder. Snyder had pulling cuts and stuff like that. And same thing with Mark and Tim. But I was just wondering, some people asked about that because I think the pulling trucks have a bigger rim size compared to a monster truck, right? Or does that?
Yes. Yep.
And but
the rims are so light you can pick them up with your pinky. So the more rim you can do with the less rubber, it saves weight.
Wow, that's crazy.
Nowadays people have so much power. You're wanting to put as much weight up front as you can because, I mean, like I said, there's no other feeling. My little Chevys were pumping out all they could at. I think the overdrive limit in Monster Jam is or MTRA is 10%. I was at 76% overdrive on my blowers. Times 3.
Wow.
That's a lot of power.
Yeah.
So one question that I want to quickly ask is, transitioning from, the pulling tractors into driving monster trucks, is there anything that driving the pulling tractors you were able to bring over to driving a monster truck? Any tips or anything that you were able to kind of transition easy into?
The biggest thing was working on the motors. I learned a lot working with John, and I don't know what it was with Mike, but every time Mike would have somebody adjust the valves, I was always the one doing it. And dropping the mag in and stuff like that, that was always me. I enjoy working on. Ever since when I was a little kid, my dream was to build big pulling motors. I love the big horsepower blower motors. I never fulfilled it, but I can work on them. I've been over to John's many times and help build my own. Other than that, no. I mean, it's a lot different. As far as I take that back, racing is another thing too. With the pull tractor, you can kind of feel in your ass on what the tires are going, how it hooks, and what you want to do to get the tractor to hook. And it's kind of the same concept when it comes over to monster trucks. I can get it to hook. I can get it to it's just a feeling in your ass, I guess.
That's pretty cool. And now we're gonna mix the two together because maybe like a few months ago, you finally got Buckshot pulling the sled, and going old school. I always thought that was a pretty cool few weeks because you had you pulling the sled, Mike and Cody put their monster trucks in the lake and let them float on water. And I was ready for someone to go through the mud bog or go up the gravel Rama hill. and made the whole, old school way of life. But instead, we did an old school car crash. But still, I mean, how cool was it? That the last time, I think the last track that did a pool was probably Walking Tall a few years back. But you Virginia boys still kicking it old school, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends in the pooling world, and they had me and the wife were just bored of sitting at home, and if I would have thought about it, I should have put the Wasted Nights body on. That would have been a cool throwback. But we decided to go up there. It was actually the night before Mike Thompson's the family's reunion thing. So we went up there and talked to Temple Breslin Dyna sled operator. He let us hook to the sled, and I messed up. I was shot out of the hole pretty strong, and the motor came up pretty good, so I shifted into second. I shouldn't have. I should have just left it in first. It kind of choked itself out there at the end, but it was awesome. There's no other feeling than feeling that chain tighten and pulling something. It's a feeling that you never forget, and it was a really good reminder, and it kind of gave me the itch again. If I wasn't so busy, I would definitely have done it a couple more times since. But the schedule picked up. We've been luckily picked up some more shows, and I've been busy. So maybe next year, if we get an open spot and Temple has some room for us, and we'll go on down and hook to the sled again. Now I don't know about putting my truck in a lake though. The way my luck goes here these days, mine will flip over backwards and be tired side up.
You'll do kind of the what was it Excalibur version 2, going into the lake there. But one question I want to ask, I know with pulling there's a lot of different engine combinations, and I like to kind of ask this question every now and then with somebody, because obviously you were around your engine builder quite a bit, and one thing I always wondered is turbocharging a monster truck, because I know the blower combination is instant power and everything. But in my mind, hearing like a monster truck on a two-step popping and banging would be the coolest thing ever. Do you think it would be able to work in the right way? Because I know like in Formula Drift and other things, they use nitrous to help spool the turbos faster. But do you think something like similar would work ever one day?
Look at Diesel Dave. He got a diesel with turbochargers, and he got it to work. My engine builder builds a lot of ProCharger motors. He is begging me and itching me to put a ProCharger on mine. It's supposedly more efficient, and it's there when you hit the pedal. If I had the money, I probably would have already done it just to be the first guy to do it. But I think a ProCharger would be a good alternative to go to first before turbocharger. I was actually gonna, if I was still pulling, I was actually gonna make the jump. I was gonna sell my superchargers and change over to ProChargers. Just because they make phenomenal horsepower. And there's no, for a supercharger, it takes 300 to 400 horsepower to turn a supercharger. It doesn't take that to turn a ProCharger. So I think they make a ton more horsepower. And if I had the money and I don't know if I had the room in the chassis or not, but I want a ProCharger before I do a turbo.
Now, maybe explain to people about what's the difference between the supercharger and the ProCharger. Obviously, people know about this turbo when they have to spool up and get as much air and for you to get that extra power, while superchargers are kind of instant power. Explain to people what the ProCharger is compared to the turbo and super.
A turbo runs off the exhaust. So the more comes out the exhaust, the faster a turbo spools, and it blows fresh air into your intercooler, which goes into your intake, into your motor. Supercharger is driven by your crankshaft. So it takes, like I said, 300 to 400 horsepower to turn a supercharger, and it sucks and blows air into your intake. Now, a Pro Charger is basically a crank-driven turbocharger. It's not mounted on top of the intake, and it takes hardly any horsepower to spin. And they make awesome power. It's kind of a Pro Charger is in between a supercharger and a turbocharger.
See, I think the Pro Charger would work. You know, there's a lot of I know NHRA is starting to allow Pro Charge Pro mods in, and you know, it's definitely a
They're
different
kicking ass
thing.
too.
Yeah,
They're kicking ass in the NHRA.
I just feel like, especially in monster trucks, there needs to be a little bit something different because everybody's running the blowers, obviously, and you got Diesel Dave Ramirez, running the diesel, and then you got the Diesel Brothers and Monster Jam running the Duramax diesel. But I think you're right on that. I think a Pro Charge combination would be different and would make a lot more horsepower more reliably too. Probably be way more reliable than a blower would be.
Yes, like I said, they're pretty pricey. If I had the money, I would have already done it.
Right. And I mean, the one thing with now you could have the Pro Charger still run with the 10 under and the rule books that we have in the world of monster trucks, because that's what I think of. Maybe a lot of people are, if they're not motorheads or gear, in the monster truck world, they just go to the norm, the regular norm. I don't think a lot of people have time to experiment with turbo and stuff like that because, someone may complain about it and, someone may not be happy about it, or, the rule book says this and that, it's just a lot of gray areas, I guess. But, that's I think the one little wall for is, I guess I would say, time is a big factor of it, the experimental portion of it. But like you said, that, Diesel Dave has been I mean, heck, he outside the turbocharge, I think he has nitrous too, I think, to help him, get the truck rolling. But still, it could be there, but as of right now, just people like to do the norm, I guess.
Yep. I took my Poulan motors, which, I mean, I got the titanium intake and exhaust valves, all the high dollar stuff that I use to make all kinds of horsepower, and I pretty much detuned it, and it does awesome. I love it, but like I said, if I had the money and the sponsors, I probably would have went to a Pro Charger just to be different and stand out.
Yeah. So is that another thing probably why a lot of people are hesitant on the turbocharger is when you jump something and you land, it could possibly cause a lot of lag?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, Dave seem to do pretty good. Especially with the slipper cuts, you could slip it and, let the turbo spool up. But I think a Pro Charger would be a better it'd be a better deal than a turbo.
See, like with turbos, I watch a lot of, like I said, drifting and stuff like that, and 9% of those guys, there's only a few guys that are running Pro Chargers or naturally aspirated V8s, but the guys that are running turbos use a little bit of nitrous, to help spool the turbo faster or run an anti-lag system. I just still think here in a monster truck on the two-step, popping and banging, about to launch, it would be one of the coolest things in the world. Like, the sound of a twin turbo V8 is so epic.
Yeah, it is. But the purpose of a monster truck is getting air and jumping and landing and continuing on. And a turbo needs to get that type of, continuous power. And if you cut that off and continue back on, you could cost yourself a race.
I want to put nitro in mine one time.
Yes.
Or it's pretty crazy to talk about that because you could convert your motor, the Hall Brothers, Hemi's motors, you can convert those to run nitro. and I mean, those NHRA cars, they're only 500 cubic inch, but they're 10,000 horsepower. and they
That's what I'm
can.
saying. There'd be a whole lot of crazy stuff going on with that much horsepower.
You'd just see the nitro flames at night, dude. That would be such a killer shot.
You know how many
Yep.
speed records were broken? Bryce Kenny would be not a thought of.
Yep.
But well, we have some fan questions here for you, and we'll go ahead and start asking them for you. And this is from Tina Smith, Scotty's mom, and
Yep.
she said, "Does Samantha like it when you send it? Scotty wanted to know, and he can't wait to see you next month."
Samantha likes it when I don't break parts, and then when I break parts, then I get shunned. But I tell you what, I got a new radio system, earbuds and stuff, to where we can talk to each other, so she can be, selling merch or doing whatever she wants, and I can be in the truck, and we can talk to each other. And I got it strictly for Monster Jam because I knew, no crew guys are out on the floor, and you need the earbuds and stuff to help back you up, blah blah blah. So, anyways, I was out. The first time I used them, I put both earbuds in, and me, I like hearing my motor. I don't like not hearing it. And I think I made about 2 hits, and I couldn't hear it. And I yanked them out. So I tried it the next show, and I put one earbud in, and I talked to her, and I could hear her just fine. Everything went great. But went to go into freestyle, and I probably did a good 2-minute freestyle, but it was one of those places where it wasn't timed. Like, you could run as long as you wanted. And I could hear in my ear, okay, that's good. Shut it down. You're done. And I don't know, something kind of clicked, and I yanked the earbud out, and I kept on going. I went for another 2 minutes, and I ended up, I don't know what the hell I brought. I ended up breaking an axle or something. But I told her when I got back, I said, don't tell me when to stop. I'll stop when I'm good. But she keeps me in line. I tell you what, it's with the pandemic and stuff going on, the kids are doing the 100% virtual, and they're able to go with me all year now, or the rest of the year. And I love it, having the family on the road with me. It's a lot of fun. We get to go see places and do things, and can't complain.
I got the next one here, Cheech. Comes from on our YouTube channel, Wayne Norbury Jr. He says, asking, does Brandon plan on just being a one-truck team, or are there plans to possibly add a second truck?
Well, time will tell. Time will tell. I haven't made up my mind yet. I want a second truck. Samantha wants a ride truck, and my kids want a mini. So I got 3 different ways I can go here. I don't know which way I want to go yet.
Maybe this guy can convince you. Talking about mini monster trucks, it's Mr. Richie Kaiser, and he was asking, "Are you running at Indy this weekend?"
I will be there Friday and Sunday. I got Mente's truck at my house right now. I double booked this weekend, so Mente is filling in for me at the circus for Garden Brothers, and I'm going up to run, I don't know how you pronounce it, a show for Brian Wagner in Illinois this weekend. It's 2 shows on Saturday.
Kankakee over there at the
Something
Speedway
like that.
near Chicago.
It starts with a K.
Yeah, Kankakee.
So I'll be in Indy Friday, help Mente out, and then Friday night I'm going up to that place that you said. run there Saturday, and then I'm going to go back down to Indy on Sunday to help Mente out, and then before we go down to Mobile, Alabama, I'm probably going to go over to Jerry Beck's and hang out for a couple days.
Okay, down up in Lafayette. That's only a 45-minute drive, so that's
Yep.
not bad. And Kankakee,
Haven't seen him since March, so time to go see him.
yeah, and wonderful Kankakee. That speedway is nice. That's a big open room speedway.
I think there's only 4 trucks there, so a lot of people were saying they were expecting more.
Yeah. Do you know who's gonna be there? No.
I think it's me, Tim Jones, and 2 of Jamie Garner's.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nice little lineup.
Yeah, that is gonna be a nice lineup. I know the original lineup that was supposed to happen early this year had Kaluchka's, Mitch and Brandon there too, but still, yeah, because this weekend I'll be in Monticello, Indiana, just for a dealer gig. So that's gonna be fun. So there's gonna be a lot of monster trucking in Illinois and Indiana this weekend, but that's gonna be pretty cool. So if anyone wants to see the buckshot truck, it's a buckshot, not Wasted Nights.
Yep, I'll be buckshot the rest of the year. I don't know if I'm going to bring Wasted Nights back out. It depends on Monster Jam. That's the only reason why I got the body anyways. And then
They don't like the buckshot name, or
gun relation. They were on a gun kick.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You can't talk about guns, but we can talk about getting wasted. But anyways, I don't know if I'm going to run that or when the next time is I'm going to run that.
Maybe just do it when you do the pool.
Yeah, that's definitely going to happen next year. I'm going to put that body on sometime next year and run it for run a couple pools with it. And don't count the Hummer out. The Hummers might be making a comeback soon.
Have you talked to any of those guys about? I know some of them talk about doing a exhibition car crush, like after the pooling event, with the truck, or did that ever come up to fruition?
Yeah, there's a couple guys down here that's trying to talk me into some stuff or with me about some stuff. And there's actually a couple of promoters that I would like to talk to. I think it would be cool at some of these outdoor shows to maybe throw a pool in there for a competition. So, you got your wheelies, your racing, and your freestyle. Let's do, wheelies, pulling, racing, and freestyle. Whoever pulls the furthest, or, just throw something different in there, It'd be pretty cool to see and different. Just be different.
Like some old school, having the two trucks line up with the sleds.
Or drag race like that. I mean, it'd be a different kind of racing. I don't know. It's just something different, kind of like the circus deal with the Garden Brothers. One thing I can say about them, it's not, you don't just see freestyle motocross or four-wheeler racing or Transaurus, or it's not just one thing. They have like 4 or 5 different side acts. It's pretty cool little show there to watch. It's pretty different. I like doing different stuff. So adding a pool to a truck pool to an event I think that'd be awesome.
That would be pretty cool. Hey Brad, you got any more questions for him?
I got one from Scott Bryant. He asked, getting more used to the new truck versus the old one?
I tell you what, I sure missed that Hummer. I could drive the wheels off that thing, but this new one, the old one, I would much rather flatland. It would not take a side slap. If it's side slapped, I was throwing shocks off, breaking stuff, sway bars. It was just so top heavy. This new one, it's just a whole nother animal. It handles so good. It lands awesome. I feel like I could do anything. And I can race with it now. It's not so top heavy. I just started getting used to it indoors in March, and then everything, fell out the bottom of it. We started going outdoors now. I've done 4 or 5 shows, and I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm hoping here by the end of the year, we're pretty much booked for the next 2 or 3 months. We're trying to run till December. So if everything goes good, I'll have this thing dialed in, and next year it's game on.
So how is the buckshot truck compared to the red Solo truck? I know you like that red Solo truck. Now, did it just got leapfrogged?
I don't know. That red truck, the only thing I can say about that red truck, I could race that thing, and I could hang. I made it to the finals twice in Bristol and lost to Dan Runte both times. I won Charlotte with it. I could just race with it. It was easy to handle. The steering was on point. You put your hand on top of the steering wheel, and 3 and 9. That's all you needed. It was awesome. Now the new truck, it freestyles a lot better. That's the most comfortable truck I've ever sit in or been in my entire career. It's awesome. It's such a good feeling. I think once I get used to the steering and because we changed a bunch of stuff, JR McNeil hooked me up and helped me out a whole lot. We put some new Patrick steering cylinders on the front. We did the dual cylinders instead of the single plumb. I got a different cushioning valve on the front, and JR hooked me up with a different orbital. So I've only done a show or two with it. We're getting used to it, but I think once everything gets dialed in, I'll be a force to be reckoned with racing too.
Yeah, that's pretty epic, and I think hopefully down the road we'll see a lot more fans. Like I said, he's booked. So can fans find out where you gonna be booked at, or
you can go to the Monster Trucks tour. It's Monster Trucks with a Z, and look at their schedule. We're pretty much with them the rest of the year, other than this weekend. Might have a couple other shows here coming up, in a show in December there for Michael Harper and the Monster Truck Wars, and we're actually running with him this winter for first quarter. So we're pretty excited about that and looking forward to being busy.
Right on. I mean, it's crazy. Not crazy, but it's pretty awesome how you took the ball and run with it, with the situation that this country has been through the last few months, and just ran with it. And hats off to you about that, because a lot of people are still trying to figure out what's next. Yeah,
I'm very, very fortunate. Elliot's always been good to us. He kept us and gave us as much shows as he could. And we've done as much as we could with what we had to work with. I've been fortunate enough for the circus to call and Wagner, and luckily I'm on everybody's good side, and we're staying busy. This is me and my wife, we do this full time. This is all we do. Luckily, when this pandemic hit, my cousin had bought a topsoil business, and he kept me busy going this winter or this summer to pay the bills until things pick back up. But I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that maybe after first quarter everything will get back to normal.
Yeah, because right now a lot of people are watching that debate, and I've been seeing a lot of not serious comments about this debate. So a lot of people think this scenario is going to be over by November, but I think it's going to probably be over by mid-2021, because they have to figure out some way to clear this fog out before.
I think it depends on which way the election goes, and like you said, I'm hoping after first quarter and springtime comes around and it starts heating back up, that things go back to normal. I know I'm sure. I don't know what they're going to do for sure, but I would assume Monster Jam's probably not going to go back full time. They're probably going to do shows here and there, and sounds like everybody's kind of antsy on what's going to happen and who can do shows where. I know it varies state to state, hence that's why Lima got canceled. So I think it just depends on who can do shows where.
And if people may not know, Florida is officially on stage 5, so they're basically open. And I think last Saturday, Indiana is about to be open too. So that's another good sign. 2 states right now are getting basically open to people. I know Texas is 50% capacity, and they're pretty much getting ready to go open. So, and I know Harper, he does most of his shows in Texas. So by that time, you're gonna be having some fun. But
I hope so.
Right on.
And I'm just here waiting for our stupid prime minister here in Canada to get his crap together.
Okay.
You
Anyway.
and Michael Vaughters, Mikey Jr. too. I hear he's stuck over there.
Well, I'm flying to the States next month for Zane's show, so you can still fly, but you can't drive. So the borders are closed for driving. But I'm hoping that somehow Elliot can convince you to, if he does Edmonton next year, to come out here to Alberta and do some onion harvesting out here.
I don't know. I had a bad experience going to Mexico there with Hawkins, so I don't know about going out of the country.
Hey, we got Tim Hortons here, man. What else can you ask for? Tim Hortons and
I hear you.
Yeah. But Brad, you're like Mexico, so you're dangerous and in general. So we
are the nicest people ever. Come on.
You're the only ones that beat up someone and then say sorry while punching their face in. Sorry. But man, it's awesome to catch up with you, Brandon. Also, talk about this new truck and it's pretty cool to catch up, like I said, and see what's new in the Bud world. You need to name. You know what? You need to just name the truck the Bud Boss.
Yeah, I hear you.
With the BUDD.
The Budweiser. Yeah.
It's called the Bud Boss. There's another monster.
Yeah.
Actually, that pulling truck's still around, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, my actually last question is some of those pullers, they run I heard those tractors are like back on the television days that are still running today.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Got the sneeze.
Sneeze coming there. We some of the guys that I run with, my tractor, for instance, my granddad built it in 1989, and it's still running. There's a lot of other trucks that Scott Smith's Three Bears truck. It was a big Grand National truck. It's still running. It's now called Badass. It's still running, runs good. There's all different kinds, and you got new stuff, and sometimes the new stuff can't keep up with the old stuff. So it just depends on what kind of chassis you got and what kind of horsepower, and if you know how to tune it and set it up.
That's awesome. Cool deal. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for being on. And we'll have you on another time. Maybe I'll have a third down round table.
Right on. Sounds good. Thanks for everything.
Awesome. All right, Brad. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, High Octane Coffee, J Concepts. Check them out. They just came out with the 2+2 newer tire with the cleats on them. Go check that out for your RC trucks. Also, Back Channel Productions. Take a look at his videos are coming out with the Bradley Shaw Designs Renegade Tour. Zane Ritu just came back, had a big show at Fargo, North Dakota. Also, 6B Apparel. A lot of the guys got their uniforms from 6B today or this week. So thank you for all the love. They're still for sale, $100. Pop. Just confront me or Brad. You can get the OG, the one that looks exactly like the banner right here, that logo. The New Wave, let me get that right, the New Wave. And the OG
retro design, the OG logo. So go to either message me or Dan on that. They're awesome quality shirts, especially the new material that Chris with 6B has been using. Very stretchable, very breathable. As a fat guy, I like stretchy clothes. I'm trying to lose the weight, but it's very hard. We also like to thank Marty Garza and his book, Monster Truck Technology. Hopefully, I'll be able to get that for Christmas this year. I want to read that. It's on my bucket list to read. I'm not a big reader, but I want to read that 100%. We also like to give thanks to JB Scale Graphics, who they just released the Wildfoot paint or wrap, whatever it is, for RCs. So go check that out. And also myself, Bradley Shaw Designs. Go check out the website at bradleyshawdesigns.com. I just want to quickly mention an upcoming event for the Renegade Tour this weekend. They are in Reynoldsville, Pennsylvania at the Hummingbird Speedway. So if you're around the area, go check it out. awesome stuff. Again, I will be at the Abbottstown, Pennsylvania stop, the Lincoln Speedway, biggest show of the year, presented by Dryden Performance Products. That is a big show for them. Big lineup. I'm excited about that one. I got my passport. It's happening. It's the Canadian invasion, is what I'm calling it.
This one. But anyway, go check out him. This weekend's crazy. Kankakee, like he says, 2 shows Saturday at Kankakee Speedway. It's just south of Chicago on I-57. If anyone's around that area, go check that out. Like he said, there's 2 Jamie Garner's trucks, Twisted Addiction, Tim Jones, and also himself in Buckshot. Kankakee Speedway, 2 shows, I think 2 o'clock, and I think 1 or 2, and 5 o'clock. Oh, that's a good one. Anyway,
COVID.
Check that out. Also, Indianapolis, even though they just got the 4-wheel drive Jamboree 2 weeks ago, like he said, there's a show this weekend. Don't know the dates, but they're going to be at the fairgrounds, at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, at the dirt track portion. Go check that out too. I myself, Mark, and will be at the Ram dealership in Monticello, Indiana. Friday and Saturday, come say hi to me. I will be there, driving the ride truck around. Go ahead and say hi. We'll be there. And then Saturday, there's going to be a car crash there too. So there's a lot of monster trucking going around the neck of the woods there. There could be more. So go take a look at Facebook, whatnot. Go check that out. Last Sunday, I watched the Versus Monster Truck show on pay-per-view on the Dirt Design TV.
Dirt Track Digest.
You digest. Anyway, I took a look at that. The show was good. I thought the flow was awesome. Our next guest, which transitioned this Thursday, John Fitzgerald basically cleaned house, won wheelies and racing, and then Chris Wicke, I can't pronounce his last name, drove Crustacean and rocked in freestyle. Watched some old good Quad Wars acting, which was pretty cool. Missed that in the mid-2000s. But once again, a shout out to Steve Perry and his crew. It's great to see Steve back from the times at MTM2 when he basically ran the Premier League in that video game when he did it. It was pretty cool. And then he did some work for Monster Jam. Great to see him coming back and try work on this league. There's a lot of potential. And I think it's pretty cool that he did that. So I give a gray A. So hopefully more can come. And outside of that, pretty much that's it for me talking about stuff. Yep. Brad, like you said, they're going to be out in the United States in October. Go check out. Go say hi to him. Like I said, go ahead, and he could have some Crush This apparel or maybe just some Renegade stuff. But interrupting me. But I know he's so excited about talking. But I'm just taking the winds out of his sail, and I'm doing it intentionally now because he keeps on trying to put that block in the square hole. If he kicks me out, I'm ending this broadcast. So, Brad, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I was just going to say, if you guys can come to the show, please, it's a big deal for me. I'm going to be filming things and kind of making a video together for the very end. But I also I like to try to do this on every episode. Guys, please go check up on your friends and family. Mental health awareness is a very big, important thing. I go through mental health stuff myself. I got 3 diagnoses. I'm getting the help I need. Please check up on people, man. It's a very important thing. I'm very passionate about it, and I want to use my voice for good, and and also prove that your dreams can come true with whatever you're struggling with. You can still accomplish whatever you want. So just check up on your friends and family. Make sure they're doing good, especially in these uncertain times in certain states and countries.
That you made?
It was for Crush the Stigma, which I'm wanting to do more with that soon. just a lot of stuff was happening in the beginning of the year for me, just with my move and not being, properly, being on medication. So I'm finally back on my medication and things are going awesome. Also, episodes are up on the on Apple Podcasts and everything. We're uploading them. Tonight I'm uploading our last 2 podcasts plus this one, and also
long-awaited Jeff Bursey.
Yes, the long-awaited Jeff Bursey, and that's on my end, guys. Battling depression, sometimes it's hard to get stuff done. You don't have the motivation, but I'm fighting through it. I'm getting it done. So all those will be up tonight/tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And thank you guys for all the love and support that you show us. We've been doing this for 5 years now, and we're not slowing down anytime soon. Cheech next month in October will be going 3 episodes by himself. I will try to check in. It'll be when I'm traveling, so I'll try to check in on those.
You may do some videos prior to it. Yeah, like I did with the Jamborees. He'll do it maybe an hour beforehand, or 30 minutes, whatever, how long it is. But then I'll go on with the live broadcast too. So Brad may do that. Brad's going to do that. We're just being clear. Brad's going to do it. Yeah. So that'd be cool to see what he's doing, and maybe get some interviews from Corey and Zane and Lindsay, and maybe some new ones. So
I'm bringing my laptop and my mic along with me, and hopefully going to be doing some interviews there. That's what I'm hoping. Talk to the mini monster truck drivers, Zane's sons, and also Logan Lockhart. Talk to Joe Lockhart, who drives Barely Tame. I'm just excited about it, guys. It's probably the coolest opportunity I've ever had in this business. And I'm going to be filming a little video. In my head, I'm calling it a little mini documentary, just to show the journey that I've taken to get to this point. Also, next month marks 10 years of Bigfoot Bad Boy number 3. So I'm excited about that as well.
Oh my goodness. Anyway,
I got to get that plug in there.
Also, Thursday, John Fitzgerald.
Yes.
He just, like I said, he cleaned house on the Versus Monster Truck show Sunday. He will be on as our guest, the driver of the Turbulence. Pretty cool to bring a new up-and-comer, a new guy in and learn about his backstory and how he has, now become, as a pretty cool truck. I'm not going to lie. But, so I can't wait for that. And I will also release next Tuesday is guest. So next Tuesday will be...
Drum roll, please.
6th is going to be Mike Harper of the Outlaw Monster Truck and his Monster Truck Wars group. So that will be next Tuesday's guest is Mike Harper. So
excellent.
I have nothing else to say. I think we took care of everything.
Yep.
And I'm good to go to sign off. It's been almost 3 hours since this whole corruption go. We did 2 episodes accidentally.
Yeah, and we will finish the watch along. I still want to finish that, so that'll be coming up on just like a random night.
What you should have done is figure out how to get that that it's not a green screen, but make that a blue screen. And when
I have a green screen. I just got to figure out how to mount it.
I
bought green fabric. I got to figure out how I'm going to mount it.
Well, if you did that, you should have had that playing in the background while we were interviewing Brandon Budd.
But people get distracted by that. Plus, I'm already getting distracted by doing this.
And the nightmare continues, kiddies.
Or my favorite one.
Never be able to ride away from this mess. I leveled you, you callous
I can't hear it.
Now that you've come to the end of
it's from Monster Wars, the Predator character.
Put you to rest.
That sounds like Gravedigger.
Was it Gravedigger? I think that's Predator.
No, that's Gravedigger.
Okay. I made these a long time ago.
The reason why I know is I have the full season from Chris Parrish. Thank you. On that he has a Predator has more of a high pitched voice.
Okay, yeah. I made these a long time ago for when I was streaming. I have a bunch of them.
Like Taurus has the cowboy southern accent. Invader has the space. Why did you do it? Equalizer's "Ooh yeah," and then Gravedigger's like Skeletor, and then Predator was like Cat Scratch Fever, and then freaking First Blood was a reenactment of the Ultimate Warrior, and then Carolina Crusher. All that guy did was scream. He was like, "Crusher!" That was Carolina Crusher. So
See, what I need is some Dave Grimm ones. Turnbow and Raminator, Turnbow and Raminator. See, some of these I don't even know. Like, I don't know what this one is, honestly. Oh, it's the full one.
Have a damn good time.
Or like even this one. I don't know what this one is.
The nightmare continues, kiddies.
Oh, I have two of the same ones. But as we go along, there's going to be more. We're going to play them at certain times. If you guys have any suggestions what you want to hear, there's two that I haven't played yet, which I will end the podcast with that. Cheech, anything else, dude?
Let's end it.
Let's end it. All right, these are the last two things I'm going to play on the soundboard, and here's the first one.
All right, Tom's got us staged up. We're going for one hell of a ride right now.
And this podcast has been one hell of a ride. And what happens when you take one hell of a ride?
You need to edit that.
Yeah, we turned her over. She's over. That's what the people want. That's what they got. I got a tore up truck.
Good night.
Good night. Keep the rubber side down, the shiny side up. Keep the rubber side down, the shiny side up, everybody. Peace.
Have a jam good time.